everyone. Welcome to The Sting, your information source for all things athletics at North Reading High School. I'm here with Phil Healy today.
Hey, how you doing, Mel?
Pretty good, Phil. Good to see you. We're going to wrap up the winter sports season and talk a little bit about the spring season, which will be upon us soon. I believe spring athletics will begin next week, or the week after next, when state tournaments are over. We'll see the kids out in the turf field, and so we're looking forward to that. Another great winter season, Phil. Sadly, last night, the hockey team went down to defeat in the Division II North semifinals to Stoneham. Double overtime game. It was a heartbreaker. Stoneham scored with 24 seconds left in regulation to tie the game, 1-1, and then they scored with, I think it was 3 minutes and 42 seconds left in the second overtime period to win the game 2-1. Just a tremendous season for the Hornets. I don't know if you're familiar, but the MIAA and their overtime rules in the state tournament, the first overtime is 6 minutes, 4v4. So they take one player off the ice for each team.
I think they do that in the NHL, don't they? Yeah.
The second overtime, 6 minutes, 3v3.
Really?
So basically, it's a series of 2-on-1 and breakaway rushes up and down the ice.
Wow.
So you're almost guaranteed someone's going to score.
Yeah.
Because especially at that point of the game, the kids all have tired legs.
Yeah.
Someone gets a breakaway.
That's heartbreaking.
And that's what happened last night. So that, of course, followed an incredible win by North Reading in the quarterfinals against Lincoln Sudbury, where it was a 0-0 game. North Reading scored with 3.2 seconds left in the second overtime of that game to win 1-0 to proceed to the semifinals against Stoneham. The interesting thing about Stoneham is they're the 11th seed in the tournament. They play in a very tough league, though. They play in the Middlesex League. They play against a lot of Division I schools. Yeah. Reading, Burlington, Melrose, Winchester. So a lot of bigger schools. So it was a very good game. North Reading's got a lot of kids coming back next year. The goalkeeper's coming back. A lot of the defensemen are coming back. Their defense was stellar. In 22 games this year, they allowed a total of 21 goals.
Wow.
It's very rare to see a hockey team go through an entire season and give up less than a goal per game.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
And they accomplished that. They finished the season with a 16-3-3 record. So a tremendous season for the hockey team, Coach Gigliotti, and I really enjoyed going to the games during the season and the state playoff games. We have one team that's still in action, and that's our cheerleaders. They are in the state championship this weekend. Mm-hmm. They won their regional competition last weekend, and it's more than just cheers, go team. It's gymnastics, it's tumbling, it's pyramids, it's all that kind of stuff.
Like color guard too, stuff. Or is that a whole separate thing?
That's separate. This is more kind of athletic, athletic achievement, athletic competition, and they work really hard. They have a coach. They practice just like the teams, just like these sports teams. You know, this is really an athletic event, and so they'll be in the state tournament this weekend. Best of luck to them. And as I said, they won the regionals last weekend. Let's give you a quick rundown of how the rest of the winter sports did. Once again, our two indoor track teams had stellar seasons, both finished with records of 8-2. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention, actually, is the hockey team won the Cape Ann League Championship and finished with a record of 9 wins, no losses, and 3 ties.
Oh, so, in the Cape Ann
division
play.
Right, yeah, in the Cape Ann League, in the conference play. So I did want to mention that. The both track teams, as I said, 8-2. The boys track team finished tied for 4th in the state championship, the Division V state championship. The girls track team finished 3rd in the Division V state championship.
Oh, not bad.
That's out of more than 30 schools in each of those divisions.
Was that hosted at the school, or was
I think that meet takes place at the Reggie Lewis Track and Field Center in Boston and Roxbury. Yes. We don't have an indoor track, so when the weather's nice, the kids can practice outside. Mm-hmm. When it's not, you might see them running through the hallways. It's great to have the new big school because the kids can do the dashes right down that long hallway in the middle school or down Main Street. You'll see the kids. And we've established the school. North Reading's established a strong tradition in track over the last several years. Won several state championships.
Yeah, the year before this one, they went all the way. Pretty much, right?
The spring teams have done great. We have some stellar performers in high jump, girls pole vault, some of the the distance running, and our relays have always been strong. And for the past several years, we've sent a number of athletes down to the national championship, which is usually held, I think, in North Carolina. I don't know if it's there every year. Yes.
How has that been for the athletes?
It's a great experience for them. It's interesting. They can't run under the banner of their school because it's not sanctioned by the MIAA. So they go down there.
Weird.
They have to raise their own money.
Yeah.
And they can't wear North Reading High School shirts, but they can be North Reading or the NR Tigers or whatever they want to be, but they can't represent their school. And it's the case with all the athletes there because it's privately sponsored. I think Nike or one of the big shoe companies sponsors it. So,
well, it's still kind of
but
fun.
It's still a great experience for them. Yeah. So again, great performance by the track teams. Basketball, very solid in basketball the last several years. The boys under Coach Joe Casey, who I think Joe's been here maybe 15 years, and I think his teams have missed the state tournament only 1 or 2 years in those 15 years. This year they made the states again. They won their first round game against Greater Lawrence Regional, and then they lost in the quarterfinals to Watertown, who was the number 1 seed. Okay. And Watertown actually plays Linfield tonight for the Division III North Championship. Linfield is a very good team this year.
So are they playing at the Garden then, or they?
I don't think they're at the Garden yet. I think the Garden is
for the state championship.
For the state championship. So right after tonight, right? This is still the Division III North Championship.
So probably like Worcester or no, it would.
I don't know. Oh, actually, I think they may play the finals in Worcester. They might be at the Garden for the finals of this.
Yeah, they've done that because I've been
right. So
weird.
The boys finished the season with a 14-8 record. They lost tremendous number of players from last year, so they were replacing a team last year. They did extremely well. They were undefeated most of the season. They won the Cape Ann League. Right. They did not win the Cape Ann League this year. However, another satisfactory season under Coach Casey.
And they were kind of smaller than.
Oh yes, we don't have much height.
No, that's why
we haven't had much height in North Reading since the 2013 team, which had the entire starting lineup was 6 feet or over, and we had 3 6'5" kids in that lineup.
Well, that's something.
That team went 22-0 during the regular season and made it to the semifinals of the North Division II 3 championship before bowing out. Very good team.
Yeah, no.
The girls lost even more from last year. If you recall, they had Jess Lazan, who was two-time Cape Ann League Player of the Year. 6'5", now playing at Yale. She actually got into some games. No, she got into some games this year, though. She played in 6 or 7 games. So they lost basically everybody. They had one starter come back, one senior. They had one senior on the team, a lot of freshmen and sophomore getting a lot of time, sophomores, and they still managed to make the states. Finished the season 11-11 record. Yeah. Unfortunately, they came up against the number 1 seed in the first round, Amesbury, and they lost to Amesbury in the first round. But nobody expected anything from the girls' basketball team this year because of the number of players who graduated.
That overhaul,
Right. And the future looks really good for them because of the large amount of playing time that the freshmen and sophomores got this year. So very excited about girls' basketball. I saw a couple of their games this year. I think I try to attend as many games as I can.
Well, I need to get to one of those. I'm a basketball guy. So
They're great. They're great. And it was good to see both basketball teams in the state tournament again. The girls, since our new coach took over 3 years ago, have been in the States every year since he's been here. So he came over from Linfield. So good coach, and looking forward to the future with girls basketball. Wrestling, Cape Ann League champs again. That's our co-op with Linfield. Mm-hmm. That's taken a big turn in that when we first got into that co-op with Linfield, it was mostly Linfield students, very few North Reading. Now I believe this year it was something like 16 North Reading kids and 4 from Linfield.
Oh,
so I think it's still called Linfield North Reading, but we essentially became the host school this year because we have the large number of students participating. We have great facilities now, a lot of practices. We had a couple quad meets at the high school gym, which is where you have 4 teams come in. You've got 4 different mats. You've got 3 or 4 matches going on at the same time.
And they do it in pretty much on the court?
Yeah, they bring the mats in. They lay the mats down on the big court. They have the bleachers. The bleachers are closed, so you have more space.
So people standing room. And,
right. Well, you probably have a few rows of the bleachers open, but there's much more space to put the mats down.
Yeah, it's not a bad area to have that.
No. Yeah. So great season again for wrestling. Hope that continues. And then if you remember this year, I don't know how we did or how they did as a team, but we started a co-op. We joined a co-op ski team this year.
Remember you mentioned
downhill
last
ski
episode,
team. We had, I believe, 4 students who participated. That was with Haverhill High School and Billerica High School.
Yeah.
So hopefully that went successfully, and we'll continue that next year. The co-op girls hockey team, which is Linfield, Peabody, and North Reading, with Peabody as the host. We had 6 girls from North Reading on that team. Made a huge contribution, and it was this year for the first time that team qualified for the state tournament.
Oh, congrats!
Yeah, they lost in the first round, but it was a great achievement for them to get to the state tournament, and hopefully that those girls will continue to play on that team moving forward. We also this is a little bit off topic in that the middle school hockey team, which is not a sponsored team by the middle school, but it's the middle school team. They pay their own way. It's like
a travel team.
Correct.
Right?
It's not funded by the budget.
School. It's the parents and
correct. The parents have to pay their own way for ice time, etc. Mm-hmm. They won their championship. They beat Tewksbury 10-2, so they were the middle school champions this year of their division.
Congrats.
And that bodes well for the future in terms of hockey.
Hopefully they don't go off
to private. Well, the fate of public high school hockey now is that almost every year, almost every high school is going to lose 1 or 2 of its best players. North Reading lost 2 players last year. Oh. If they had been with the team this year, I'm convinced this was a great team. I'm convinced they would have gone all the way to at least the state finals if they had those 2 players.
Where are they playing now?
I'm not exactly sure. I think one might have gone to Williston, Northampton. They go to prep schools.
Oh, well, I've never heard of that.
So what happens is they're sophomores or juniors. They go off to prep school. They're allowed to repeat that year.
Like that 5th year or whatever.
And when you go to a prep school, if you have the skill, you're going to get noticed by more scouts.
More
it's better competition. I'm not putting down the competition at the public high school level,
that's just how that is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's higher level competition, and there's more of an opportunity if you really want to play hockey, especially if you want to go play in Division I and attain a scholarship. It's very difficult to do that from a high school that plays Division II hockey.
Oh, it's kind of exciting because we're like a farm system for a lot of things.
Well, North Reading has a great hockey tradition. It's a great hockey town. The youth hockey program is strong. As I said, the middle school won the championship. So
quite convincing.
I think the future's bright for North Reading in hockey, and will continue strong in that area. So let's switch over to spring. Winter's basically over.
Yeah, what do we have
except for the cheerleaders? Well, we have the baseball team, which lost in the state championship game last year. I was talking to Coach Arch, and he's very optimistic. He's got some two solid pitchers coming back from varsity. He's got some solid pitching coming up from JV. He's got his entire outfield is back. But he lost his entire infield, so they got to replace their infield. The catcher, Johnny Marullo, is back. One of the players from the outfield, Jeff Mejia, great hitter, he's back. He's already committed to play at U Lowell next year, which is UMass Lowell, which is D1. UMass Lowell's moved all their
pretty good
athletic programs up to Division I, so Jeff will be playing there next year. And in fact, we have Colby Mayola, who is a North Reading grad, is playing at U Lowell currently.
Oh, wow.
So
then they haven't started their
they've been down. They've been playing for probably 2 weeks down in Florida.
Oh.
Almost every school goes down to Florida, Division I, Division II, Division III.
Wow.
Either Florida or the Carolinas, Georgia. They go south and they play to even the community colleges, Northern Essex Community College, where a lot of our kids have played for 2 years before going off to bigger schools.
What a beautiful scam!
Exactly. What a great deal if you're a college kid.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got to work hard to make the team, but to get 2 weeks in Florida, 3 weeks in Florida,
I gotta go down the floor.
Right. Softball teams, it's the same thing. The college softball teams.
That's fantastic.
So that's very exciting. One other thing I wanted to mention about baseball: Ryan McAuliffe, who is a North Reading grad. He pitches now for St. John's University in the Big East.
Oh,
he was
the Cyclones, right?
No, St. John's is the Redmond.
Redmond.
Redmond. One of those names they're probably trying to get rid of because it's a Native American thing.
He's just a man who's red.
Right,
He's
exactly,
like, no.
Ryan was named Big East Player of the Week last week.
Oh, congrats!
He's a senior. He had a fabulous season last year, and he was also one of 5 players that was featured on the promotion poster that St. John's put out for their baseball team this year.
That's awesome.
And Ryan went to Northern Essex for 2 years, pitched in a national championship for Northern Essex, and now he's at St. John's, which is Division I. It's one of the best. Most of the best baseball in college is played in the South or the West because of the weather. They play 20, 30, 40 more games than the kids in the East Coast play, especially the Northeast.
And that's why hockey is big around here.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but St. John's, where Ryan pitches, is in the Big East, which is probably the best Northeast, East Coast
Is
basketball
that New York,
league.
St. John's?
St. John's in New York,
Okay,
yeah. So I didn't want to mention that, and I think, as I said, I think the baseball team is poised to have a really good season this year.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can get back to the state finals and win this time.
We are kind of spoiled.
Right. With Frank Carey, this has been, I said this is a strong hockey town. It's probably the strongest when it comes to baseball. This is a huge baseball town. Frank Carey, who coached for, I think, 40-something years, has more wins than any other coach in the country, I believe, in baseball. Over 800, I think.
Wow. Frank
established a tradition in this town that goes from really T-ball all the way up to when you get out of high school. And so we have a tremendous baseball tradition here.
I think he set up a hitting cage in the basement of the school?
They used to have a hitting cage in the basement of the school, which that was one of the big concerns when we built the new school. Where are the kids going to have the hitting? Well, I think we put last year we were able to raise the funds and we put in a hitting cage in the fitness room area. Upstairs there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So both softball and baseball are able to take advantage of that, and we're able to use it for soccer, for lacrosse training, because it has artificial turf on the floor, so it's not concrete. So
that's good.
So then softball had another very good season last year. Made it to the States. I believe they lost in the second round. I think their pitching is coming back from last year. A lot of their strong hitters are coming back. Only lost a few seniors last year. Softball is also, when Rusty Russell was here coaching for a number of years, tremendous tradition. I think between Rusty and Frank Carey, we had over 1,000 wins in those two coaches.
Wow.
So a lot of pressure on the coaches replacing them.
Yeah.
And they're both doing very well. So excited about softball. Track, I mentioned how great they did in the winter. Always strong in the spring. Really looking forward to them coming back in the spring. It's fun if you can catch a meet or two. There's a million different events.
We can't miss it. It's right.
Right down the road.
Yeah.
It's a million different events going on at the same time, and it's just it's a lot of fun to watch.
It's a great facility out there, and it hosts a slew of other events as well.
Right.
Like Relay for Life is one of them too.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we have the two lacrosse teams, girls and boys lacrosse. Boys lacrosse has almost always made the tournament. I think we've had lacrosse now for maybe 7 or 8 years. We brought lacrosse to North Reading, and boys lacrosse has pretty much made the state tournament every year. One year went to the finals, lost at Harvard Stadium in the finals, state championship. The girls have made states a couple of years, looking for a rebounding season. I think they only won 5 or 6 games last year, looking to rebound this year. So 6 sports in the spring. You got boys and girls lacrosse, boys softball, baseball, and boys and girls track. And track has huge teams in the spring.
And you guys do a joint swimming? I forget. Or
joint swimming, yes, that's right. The co-ed swimming, I believe they finished with about a 500 record. Oh. It's our own team. We swim at the Y in Reading, and the dedication of the athletes on that team, I think they have to be at their practices at 5:30 in the morning.
Before school, right?
Right, before school. So you really have to like swimming to get to the Y in Reading at 5 or 5:30
and in the
winter,
winter, pretty
in the
much.
winter, exactly.
Wow.
So, again, looking forward to an exciting spring season. A couple other things I wanted to mention. The sports track quickly.
No worries.
The North Reading Maskers.
Oh, yeah.
They won. They were winners in the first round of the Massachusetts Educational Theater Guild Drama Fest. And they will be performing again. I believe it's March 18th. And I'm not sure the location. It might be Westwood High School. I'm not sure. That might be wrong.
Is there a website to check?
Yeah, you can go to the metg.com and you'll see it there. Or you can just Google Maskers North Reading, and they'll have it up there. Sure. I think Westwood might be wrong on that. And
yeah, I mean, always good to double check anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the maskers were great. They've been great for a long time. Allison Kane does a tremendous job with that group. The musicals every year are outstanding, and they've been participating in the Drama Fest since 2010. And so 2 out of the 7 years, this is year 7. We don't know yet if they'll make it this year, but 2 out of the 7 years, they've made it to the finals and performed at the Hancock Theater in Boston, which is pretty exciting for the kids.
That's crazy, yeah.
It was exciting because, my daughter, the first year they did it, my daughter was one of the lead actors in the performance called The Miser, and they made it all the way to the finals.
Wow.
So there's 8 schools out of, it probably starts with close to 100, maybe more. 8 schools make it to the final round where they perform over the weekend. There's lots of activities, and then they judge on a Sunday. So that's very exciting for the maskers. I went to the show. I enjoyed it. It was a great performance. Very sophisticated. The kids are sophisticated. They put a lot of work into it. They work as hard, if not harder, than any participant on a sports team does. Yeah. And it's long hours, grueling hours, building sets and things like that. So
it's a lot of work, man.
The interesting thing about the Drama Fest is they're timed. They have all their set materials on the stage. They're timed putting the set together. They have to do it within a certain amount of time. Then they perform, and then they have to break it down within a certain amount of time, or they get penalized on each side.
That's crazy.
So tremendous. The last thing I just want to remind everybody, special town meeting, Monday night, 7 o'clock, Town Hall. Very important item on there is approving the zoning changes for the Berry property proposal for the over 55 condominium development there. Long term, bring tremendous amount of money into the town, both for the sale of the land and for taxes. We need a quorum. We need 150 people.
150 people, yep.
Please get there. I'll be there. Phil will be there.
Yeah, obligated, yeah.
Jason in the other room will be there. Yep. Rob will probably be there.
We will be there.
It'll be live, but don't sit home and watch it on TV.
No, come and see it. We will be putting it on TV live and on our streaming channel, but need to be there in person.
So with that, I think that's a wrap, and we'll be back at you sometime during the spring season, give you an update, and then when the season ends, we'll be back and let you know how the teams did and how we look going into the fall.
Oh, that's great. Oh, one last thing. Is there any website you'd recommend for people to check for the schedule of where to check out games and where things
CalScores.com is the go-to. It's an independent website. They pretty much get every score up there. They have the standings. Also, if you go to the North Reading School Department website and click on athletics and then click on schedules, that'll take you to another page, which I think they link to CalScores now.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I think they might link to CalScores.
They used to have just like an independent calendar.
Yeah, I think they changed that now. So CalScores will have all the schedules too.
That's fantastic.
And they probably don't have all the spring schedules up completely yet, but I'm sure they're getting pretty close because the seasons will be starting in early to second week of April. You'll start seeing, provided it doesn't snow as much as they say it might the next few days.
Yeah, next week,
Right. So with that, we're going to close this episode of The Sting, and again, we'll see you mid-spring season. Thanks.
This podcast is part of the NORCAS Podcast Network. Check out more podcasts at podomatic.com/NORCAM.